この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。Alrighty, good morning everyone. I'm Teeaboo and I'm here to record something. Let me brew my tea. Tea is brewing, got my cup ready. Good morning. Hello. It's been a shit week for me, everybody. I mean a real shit week, from getting sick in a number of ways. Like, I got a sinus infection that morphed into an ocular infection. My whole right intraorbital, intraocular, like, space got super inflamed and puffy to the point where my eye was, like, closed. That got better, and then the sinus infection got worse, and then I, like, blew my nose or something, and I blew gunk into this eye, and this eye got infected, and it kind of like, and then the whole infection got better, and I couldn't speak. It was on, I think, Monday. I would go to speak, and I would go, already, well, I could get, like, 3 syllables out. That was it. And then that got better, and then the next day, I spent the whole morning just getting my shit together, getting ready, like, doing my tea, doing my morning electrolytes and sunlight, and my whole schedule and all that jazz. And finally, I get a message from Kasai Kohai on my Discord that's like, hey, man, how you doing? How's the throat? And I'm like, oh, shit, I haven't tried to talk today. I guess I'll try to talk. So I went, all right, and what actually came out was, like, full lost voice sort of thing, where it's just the worst that it could be. So that was great. That was really good. And then the next day, oh my god, the universe has hated me. I'm doing a fun thing. I'm making fun of myself. That's what the point of this is. This is all silly, and really truly, I think it's silly. Fucking next day, mostly unsick, the roofers show up to do some, like, touch-up work on the roof that they finished putting in, like, a month and a half ago that interrupted our recordings for, like, 4 days in a row. That time, they showed back up. So they're dudes, like, singing to themselves and hammering stuff right outside my window, less than 6 feet away from me, and thus 6 feet away from the microphone. So, no dice. And then I wake up today, and nothing has happened yet. I don't want to jinx it, but nothing has gone horribly wrong yet. With the exception of, I suppose, I got woken up at the wrong portion of my sleep cycle. You know, people go through about 90-minute sleep cycles, and I discovered this years ago, but when it's just a known thing. When you get woken up in the middle of a sleep cycle, you're not going to have a good time. And when you get woken up at the beginning or the end, you're going to have a pretty good time. It's like, you know how when you wake up, sometimes you wake up feeling like, wow, I feel really rested, but I only got 6 hours of sleep. Weird. I feel super rested and, like, very awake right now. Odd. I couldn't go back to sleep if I tried. And then you wake up after, like, 8.5 hours of sleep, and you're like, the world, it's all bright. Oh, fuck this shit. I want to go. Oh, no. Well, that's probably because you got woken up in the middle of a sleep cycle. And there are ways. I use an app called Sleep as Android, which is free. And then there's Chronometer or something like that. There's another one for Apple stuff. But it just tracks your sleep cycle, and it tries to wake you up in the ideal time. And it does a really good job. But I got woken up this morning by a scam phone call by a scam robot that woke me up right in the middle of the sleep cycle. So turned all my lights on to blast pure white light into my eyes and try to wake up. And went through my whole routine and have awakened. Beyond that, beyond the mild inconvenience of waking up at not quite the right time and being a little bit groggy, I feel capable of speech. My throat is still acting up, so we will see how far that takes us. It might be only half an hour. Seriously, I don't know how long I'll be able to record. I don't want to risk losing my voice again. It's really scary, because this is my moneymaker, not this shit. Fuck all this shit. You know, smash this in with a baseball bat. I don't care. Not really. Like, the voice is what matters. The speech is what matters. The ability to convey information is what matters. So I've got some unknown period of time before my throat starts to close up, and I'm going to use it to talk about Mushoku Tensei. Tomorrow can be 86, and part of the thing that I'm going to hold myself back is because tomorrow's 86, and I need to do a serious and good recording for 86. But I also want to start off on Mushoku Tensei and at least get something done today, because it pisses me the hell off. I've talked about this before, but it pisses me off to not be able to do stuff. It really fucking sucks. It really fucking sucks. Oh my god. I know that I sound like that, but I really mean it. It really, truly destroys me. It tears me apart to have things that I want to say and do and not be able to do them. Ugh. Okay. This has had a couple of minutes to brew. Lad, you're a brewing tea. This is a mix of some Hibi Uji Gyokuro, some Jasmine Dragon pearls, and one of my favorite teas, which is the Milk Shinjuan Oolong. It brews at a higher temperature, so I've just brewed it at a lower temperature to mix with the greens. Still ends up adding a lot of flavor and goodness to a pot of tea. Yum, 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 yum. Okay, let's turn that off. Let's turn our attention to Mushoku Tensei, more specifically to the Comet Spotlight. And it's quite possible that all I will record today is the Comet Spotlight and no new episode, and that might be fine. Aditya Chakrabarti, who I read a comment from last time. I just wanted you to know that you reading my comments and acknowledging them means a lot to me. I usually shy away from such topics and avoid subjecting myself to the possibility of ridicule, but the acknowledgement from someone like you, whom I've developed a genuine respect for in the year since I discovered you, makes the anxiety I had to fight through to put my honest opinions forward worth it. So again, thank you for doing what you do. Aditya, you're utterly welcome. This is part of why I've started doing this more frequently, and doing it the way that I've been doing it is because I think giving a voice to people who feel like they don't have a voice can be really helpful. And I also, I read a book. I don't have it on my shelf anymore because I've lent it to a friend who's in this household. I read a book on brain development called The Whole Brain Child, and I'd recommend it to you highly. I'd recommend it to anyone, actually. It's a really useful book in a lot of ways. But as I said, I read it because there's a child in the house, and nobody else was reading books on how to raise a child, so I was like, well, there's a problem there. But I read the book, and one of the chapters near the end of the book talks about the socialization of the brain and how stunted and how many problems a child and an adult have if they don't get reflections from other people of their own ideas. So it's a process that I've been actively encouraging in this household by getting the younger men who live here to all sit outside. Now, we do so to smoke weed, but we sit outside and we share truth to each other. And we do it in this space that has become a very seriously, stuff doesn't leave this space, and we're capable of talking about anything. We're capable of talking about our sexualities and our relationships with parents and difficult stuff. And we've opened the floor to that. And it changes everything about the way that I think and the way that about the way that those people think, because in a situation where people trust each other and are speaking to each other in a community, a face-to-face community, which I think is necessary for humans, and I want to do more research into it because I think our loss of face-to-face communication is a bad thing, a really bad thing, way worse than we think it is. What seems to happen is that one person expresses their ideas, and then as they express them, they automatically mold them based on the facial expressions and responses and reactions of the other people. Now, oblivious people who don't read body language effectively, or people who are on the spectrum and can't read those social cues effectively, have an automatically hard time with it. But most people have this automatic loop that's built into their socialization that's you say a thing and you get a certain response back, and you alter your thing so that you can fit into the society, right? We do this negotiation around our ideas. And here's the thing, that's all of society. If you don't get that when you're a child, you don't know that punching another kid is wrong, because you don't look around and see everybody's faces going, whoa, right? We've talked about this in a couple of places where we've got other people's faces giving us the grounding moment, their disgust or their look of shock or their moment where, and we've talked about it in terms of the fighting, right? Or the beating people up. If you're hitting somebody and you don't realize that they're out of fight mode and they've gone into then there's an issue, right? So that ability to read other people is really important. But it seems most important to me when they are responding to you, because their responses to you shape your behavior actively and always. Now, you can actively and consciously choose, I don't care what this person thinks of me, fuck y'all, right? I'm gonna do what I want. And I do that sometimes, and sometimes it works, and sometimes you just do, right? You go, I don't respect the opinions of anybody here, fuck all y'all, I'm gonna do my thing. And that can be totally reasonable. It can be totally reasonable. Some people's opinions about you really shouldn't matter to you. And yet they sometimes do. It's that reflection thing that goes on. There's something to it that's shaping and important. How does that relate to me reading out your comment, Aditya? Well, on YouTube, the way things work is you throw out your comment, and maybe in some comment sections, maybe you get a response that actually actively engages with what you've said. It's not likely. You just sort of cast your truth out into the ether, and you hope you get some likes on it, I guess. And maybe that'll give you some confirmation that what you said is maybe somewhat right. But compared to the multi-layered nuance of a human face, like our faces are display screens. To both in terms of the blood flow, right? Like I'm just gonna do 10 squats now. My face is different, and it will continue to get different as you can see the blood rushing to it, and the readiness appearing in it. And I look and feel more awake and alive, and I'm a little bit out of breath and stuff. The face is a view screen, and our eyes are hyper complicated. Why does our face have so many tiny muscles in it? It's not so that we can chew better. It's not even so that we can use our hyper complicated eyes and focus on things better. That musculature is all in the thing. So what about all these muscles, the ones that manipulate us and let us do thousands of... Why? Because our faces are signaling devices. And our speech and our body language is all part of signaling devices too. So when you talk to somebody and they open up to you and they look you in the eye and they go, wow, that's really cool, you're invited to continue talking. And when you talk to somebody and they cross their arms and they shift away from you and they're like, you're not invited to continue talking. Not anymore. So what am I doing when I repeat your words back to you and rephrase them in my own mind? Well, I'm doing the visual thing. I'm showing you my responses to your statements. This is also what I'm doing when I'm reacting to anime, by the way. Your mirror neurons are being triggered by my reactions and facial expressions to the thing that I'm watching, right? And so we're sharing this like social proof thing around the thing that we're watching. And that's why when there's alignment, and I laugh at the same joke that you do, you feel pleased by that. And when there's misalignment and I go, that was dumb, when something you like happened, there's misalignment and you are driven to get into the comments and yell at me until you figure out what is different here. Why does this person in my society see this thing differently than I do? That's not right. So why do you care so? Why do we all care so much that some dude, which is what I am, who has a camera, reacts in ways that are relevant or resonant to you? And then why, moreover, is the greatest skill that people come back over and over and over and say is the skill that I present in YouTube videos is the ability to explain why I felt the way that I did about a thing, or why it made me feel that way about a thing. Like, that's what's going on here when I'm reacting to videos, and that's cool. Let me find a page in this. There we go. This is probably better than me moving my face around. This page in framed ink. Just spend a moment looking at some of these faces, the angles, the shadows, right? So art does this to us. It triggers those mirror empathies. When you look at one of these faces, you feel what they feel, you know what they feel, and you know how to put a label on it. It's really interesting to me. I think it's really fascinating. So when I read out your comment, first off, I'm putting a voice to your words very literally. And in this case, it's, as you've said, someone whom I've developed a genuine respect for. Now, whether that's deserved or not is not something I should be speaking on. But if you have developed that genuine respect, then you're hearing your own words in the voice of somebody that you respect. That's a pretty useful thing that might happen. And then I'll go and paraphrase them or respond to them and give you my thoughts on them. And I'll do so as honestly as I can. I phrase what you say in my own words, and then I say back to you what I think about it and anything that it sparks for me. And so you get this reflection visually, emotionally, linguistically as I speak your own words, and then the paraphrase and restate and agree, which is I say a thing, you paraphrase the thing and say it back to me as mode of confirmation to express, is this what you meant? Did you receive the information that I was intending to impart to you, right? Because otherwise, when we're communicating, most of the time, you say a thing, and there are 4 things in the thing that you said, in the one sentence that you said, that have different definitions than what the other person has inside their brain. It's a constant struggle around Rudy and around Mushoku Tensei and around the discussions around Mushoku Tensei. Had a multi-hour debate in my Mushoku Tensei channel this morning around the P word, the pedophile word. Because what does it mean? And the truth is that what it means is different to different people. And when they're arguing about things using the word and they haven't ironed out a meaning that they both agree upon, they're arguing past each other. It just goes past each other until it, right? So if the other person would go, so what you're saying is blank, 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 the other person would go, don't put words in my mouth. That's not, but what you're trying to do is not put words in your mouth. You're trying to genuinely understand. Is this what you meant? If so, if this is what you meant and we can agree that this is what you meant, then we can discuss it further into the future. And to some extent, that's what I'm doing when I'm reading out your comments and talking about them with you. We're forming this agreed upon space where your ideas and my ideas can like mesh together and we can figure out where they're aligned and different and iron out all those pieces. And when we've ironed out all those pieces, or come to the point where we agree to disagree and it's just like our shit's too different, man. We can't see from the same perspective. Fine. Very well. Once we get to that point and we've exhausted all of the struggle or conflict or whatever, we can interact in peace with each other. It works. Really cool. It's really cool. Good luck. And good hunting in the future, Aditya, as you move forward and put your honest opinions forward in the world. I recommend that you try to accomplish the same process of being an honest mirror to the feelings of those around you and act in truth to your heart when you reflect back to them your opinions of what they have said unto you. Doing so will create a mutualistic cycle of upwardly moving truthfulness that I believe will change your existence. So, good luck. Let's move on. Vartic. Petty criminal kicks child. Razord. So you have chosen death? Yeah, pretty much. I love how when Rudy is told the Ginyu Force that their party name is Dead End, it sounds the same in Demon God language as it does in Human God, which is actually just Japanese because we are in Rudy's perspective, and it's the same word in English as well, but we still got 2 sets of subtitles, one in Japanese and one in English, to tell us that Detto Endo means Detto Endo. Editor's note, Dead End means dead end. Detto Endo. Still, that whole Detto Endo thing is so stuck in my head. Just the facial Detto Endo. So funny. So dumb. So dumb and funny, and I love that it's able to be dumb and funny. I love it. Oh, I guess we'll stick with that and say Vartic also writes, this one's more meta, Atomic Habits is a great book and a great lesson. Yeah, where's my copy? I put it down. It was by my bed because that's where I put it. I've got this much left of the book to read. This much I've read. Mostly there. So I'm 200 pages in. Fuck, man, this book is brutal. And beautiful. I'll read Vardic's comment. Atomic Habits is a great book and a great lesson. It has helped me immensely in bettering myself, and more importantly, it has shined a light into every aspect of my life. Yeah, I can feel that. I understand the fear of being changed or being forced to change. I had mentioned that Atomic Habits is just a hard book for me to look at because it's like it embodies the idea that, hey man, all the things you don't like about yourself, you could be changing them. And if you realize that, then you actually have to. There's like a need. If you go, I am the type of person who changes myself when I find a flaw, and then you find a thing that's like, this is how you change yourself whenever you find a flaw. It makes you go and look at all your flaws that you think you can't change and be like, oh, shit. So, yeah. I understand the fear of being changed or being forced to change, but Atomic Habits first taught me that I had already changed. I was not the person I thought I was. Once I understood that, I was able to look behind me and see where and when I have changed, and my reaction was, that's it? That was all I had to do? Yep. Ever since then, I have embraced change as a fact of life and used it for my benefit. Excellent. Okay, that's our first loss of voice. Excellent. Very happy that it's helped you, Vartic. I'm in the process of allowing it to help me. The later chapter stuff on habit bundling, habit stacking, and temptation bundling is some of the most interesting conceptual stuff that I've ever seen. Truly revelatory, ultra simple ideas. And that's something else that coming into this with that perspective that I had gained from Mushoku Tensei has been really useful to me, which is this idea that everybody's running their own race. Everybody's on their own path, and everybody has certain things figured out and other things that they haven't figured out. And there is just zero, absolutely zero use for people who point at a thing that is beneath them or that they've already figured out and say, well, that's dumb and childish. I already know to be good to my friends. It's like, yeah, fuck off, asshole. You might know it, but the kid watching this doesn't, asshole. Or like, what a stupid message. We should never show sexual assault in media because everybody already knows that it's wrong. It's like, no, you idiot. Not everybody knows that it's wrong. If they did, it wouldn't be happening. So maybe we should tell these stories, right? The ideas, the lessons that I've found from Atomic Habits are lessons that people in my life have known, innately or not, for their whole lives, as far as I can tell, or since they were taught by parents who knew how to teach those lessons. My parents didn't know how to teach those lessons. The lessons about how to change yourself, how to set something in motion that you do every day and accomplish it every day. My parents tried to instill them into me, but they failed. My dad had a thing that he tried to get me to do starting when I was like 6 or 7. It was 5 minutes every day. You are required to spend 5 minutes every day cleaning your room. Made no sense to me, never stuck. Useless idea. If it had been, after you eat your breakfast and brush your teeth, you will immediately go and spend 5 minutes putting away things in your room, I probably would have done it because it would have been habit stacked properly with a bunch of other cues. Instead, it was just an ethereal 5 minutes that I'm supposed to find somewhere. How different would my life have been if my father, for example, had read this book and knew that simple thing that he already knew inside his head, which was if you do something consistently, it becomes a part of your life and you don't have to worry about it. If he had combined that known knowledge with the unknown knowledge that if you stack something with something else that you're already going to do, your likelihood of actually doing it improves, then maybe I would be a person who's capable of cleaning my room. One of the biggest psychological struggles for me internally. Because I have a really hard time keeping my room clean. I am a chaotic, disorganized mess. I pull things out of alignment continuously. And because of the way that my short long-term memory works, I know exactly where everything in my goddamn mess of a room is, and it is perfect. But of course, that's not how it should be. That's a coping mechanism and a whole bunch of my memory being taken up by a reorganized, continuously shifting picture of where everything is in my room instead of one picture of where everything is in my room that I work using little bits of effort to maintain. But I don't have that skill. It was never granted to me because it was never taught to me in the right way. And so just framing a thing that I knew and I knew that I wanted to do and know in a slightly different way has changed my entire perspective on it and enabled me to change my life. How much more relevant to Mushoku Tensei can a thing be? What a silly story with stupid ideas that people should already know. Yeah, but what if they don't? Then it's a good idea to have a story that tells those ideas. It's really good. Really good. Love the comment, Vardic. Love the book. I mean, truly. I can't wait to read it again, honestly. I really am looking forward to reading through it again and going back to the beginning and charging through it once more. So fucking sick. Build DeWitt writes, I think there is an additional layer to Rudy's fear of Ruijerd. His justification for killing a defenseless man was that he hurt a child. I think Rudy wonders if Ruijerd knew about some of the things he had done in this life or the previous one, would he still have helped Rudy? Or would he even have attacked Rudy? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't see any in-text justification for that, but I'd believe it. I think it's just the shock of meeting somebody who has truly black and white morality and understanding that that's not the way to be. Let's continue on. Also, I think you did a much better job with the mythological ideas this episode. Previously, while I found such discussions interesting, I found them quite hard to parse and understand. It might just be a me thing, but this episode made the ideas a lot clearer and things felt better. Explained. Keep up the good work. Yeah, it's not a you thing. It's an LSD thing. I took acid and dissolved my perceptual structures of reality. of course everything that happens after that is going to be somewhat scattered, and you're going to watch a progressive honing down and focusing in of my ideas as I recoagulate myself into a conscious being once more. Like, I'm not saying that you might not have known that, but that's what happened, and that is what has happened. When the Kill la Kill... Actually, hold on. Is the Kill la Kill video back up? It should be back up. It's been 11 days now. Oh, there's been 10 U.S. business days. So, then tomorrow, because there was a weekend in between. Alright, whatever. I guess next week it will be that. The Kill la Kill video is the most disintegrated. And then the first Mushoku long, like, comment spotlight discussion, and then the other one is the next most disintegrated, and then they become less disintegrated as I am putting myself back together. So, of course, they're getting more clear and stuff. I'm becoming more clear. Makes sense. Makes total perfect sense to me. Like, that's how the substance works, as far as I know. So I'm glad you're enjoying it. It'll continue to get that way, and then it'll get boring again, and that'll be the nature of things. It's all a cycle of chaos to rigidity. On a side note, have you ever read the Principia Discordia? It's a hilarious book, but it contains some things which provoked some deep philosophical thoughts when I read it. I bring it up because the discussion of how we are all looking at reality through our own individual perceptions reminded me of this excerpt. Quote, with our concept-making apparatus called the brain, we look at reality through the ideas about reality which our cultures give us. The ideas about reality are mistakenly labeled reality, and unenlightened people are forever perplexed by the fact that other people, especially other cultures, see reality differently. Very much reminds me of Douglas Adams in his writing of things. I have read some portion of the Discordian religious texts, but but I don't remember them that much. I do love the idea here. I do love the idea that we look at reality through the ideas about reality, through shadows on the wall of Plato's cave, if you will. And it's absolutely correct. Oh, the thing continues, sorry. It is only the ideas about reality which differ. Real, capital T, true reality is a level deeper than is the level of concept. We look at the world through windows on which have been drawn grids, concepts. Different philosophies use different grids. A culture is a group of people with rather similar grids. Through a window, we view chaos and relate it to the points of our grid, and thereby understand it. The order is in the grid. Excellent. Exactly a perfect, I would say a perfect depiction of the perceptual frameworks that we use to look through stuff. I will say that our perceptual frameworks are not grids, they are triangular. They're hierarchical. They are directed in directions, and they're multi-dimensionally hierarchical, so you can get complicated with it. But they're hierarchical. You take two things and they form one thing. They follow, essentially, I think they follow the Fibonacci sequence. You take two ideas, and in the magnetic interplay between the negative and the positive sides of one major idea, you form one concept that is your, like, this is where I stand on this thing, and then from that you can form other concepts based around that. It also contains gems like, it is my firm belief that it is a mistake to hold firm beliefs, which is a great belief. It's like how there's contradiction and strange loops at the core of almost everything. Any really effective system, this is a Gödel Escher Bach idea. Ugh. I still haven't really cracked this book yet. I read through this years ago, and I just didn't absorb it. It's an inexhaustible, unabsorbable text that's way too fucking crazy. But the concept is that strange loops occur when a system can't define itself, or like can't account for itself. So it's like, it is my firm belief that it is a mistake to hold firm beliefs, is a firm belief that does not account for the mistake that it is to hold this belief firmly. But to hold that belief firmly, that it is a mistake to hold firm beliefs, if you hold that core belief firmly, you can alter your belief systems on everything else as long as you stay true to that one. But there's a paradox. There's a paradox in there. But you're doing the thing. How dare you? It's like the the classic sort of fundamental of democracy, you might say, is that everyone is absolutely free until their freedoms encroach on the freedoms of somebody else. Absolute freedom, except when it deals with somebody else's freedom, right? So that everybody, and then you have to sacrifice some of your freedom to ensure the freedom of those around you, and all those around you have to sacrifice some of their freedom to ensure the freedom of you. And if we can do that, then everybody has a manageable and livable freedom, or rights, or however you want to look at it. Or your freedom ends where my rights begin, or your freedom to swing your fist ends where my face begins, is all an idea. It's also, it comes down to the idea of, like, everyone has a right to speech unless their speech silences the speech of others. Okay? So, bigots cannot be allowed to speak. What about people who use the word bigot to silence the speech of others? Because that seems like a common occurrence. Something about that isn't quite accounted for by the rules of the system. There's a paradoxical thing going on there. Because, in my experience, the people who call other people bigots are themselves the most bigoted people I've met. And so what do I call them? Bigots? And does that make me bigoted? Or are we, how many stages into the strange loop are we? I don't know. It's weird. Weird shit. Volk! Man, honestly, these MT videos are becoming the highlight of my week. Sick. Love the comment spotlight section so much. Sick. A lot of really inspiring stuff in there for me. Awesome. I'm really liking Ruijerd a lot as a character. It's going to be super interesting to see how his and Rudy's worldview will collide and how they will end up growing as people as a result of that. Good shit. Super interesting. I mean, Ruijerd's all locked in. He's older. He's not in the plasticky, mutable state that Rudy is. So figuring out how they're going to interact and like deal with each other is some serious business. Ramuki writes, I enjoy you reading into stuff like Hitogami so much, so do not let others tell you otherwise. Oh, man. Okay, we're going to do this once more. One more time, and then we're done. Hitogami is a real god in this world. I get it. I'm not fucking actually stupid, okay? I get it. Hitogami is also narratively Rudius's conscience. Conscience is God. God is conscience. When we imagine God, God doesn't exist. When we imagine God, I'm sorry if you believe that God exists. I believe that God exists, but only as a figment of you. Sorry. We can disagree with that about that from base principles if you want, but I'll say that I've spent a lot of time thinking about whether God exists, and I've spent a lot of time in religious philosophy courses going like, everybody seems to be arguing, like Thomas Aquinas, what a great proof of God that presupposes that God exists, fucking idiot. I mean, Thomas Aquinas, genius, brilliant writer, great logician, absolute idiot when it came to assumptions. Could not set up a scientific set of assumptions to think his way out of a wet paper bag. Poor guy was hamstrung completely by his fundamental, underlying, and unshakable belief that God exists and must be. Yikes. Okay. So, both of these things are true. Layers. Again, I don't care what Rifujin thinks. I can see both. I can see Rifujin's intent as one perspective, and I can see what I see in it as another perspective, and I can say Rifujin wrote this without even knowing what he was doing, and he wrote truth into it, which is that Hitogami is his conscience, and also a real physical extant god in the system. They're both true. They are not mutually exclusive. Everyone arguing that no, it's this, not that, is wrong, because it is both. It is this, and it is that. Great. I enjoy your reading into stuff like Hitogami so much. Do not let others tell you otherwise. I will not. I mean, no chance. Something I wanted to mention since the first time it was introduced, though, the white space, that's what I decided to call it for now. I'll call it liminal space, in which Rudius meets Hitogami in his old body is such a genius choice made by the author to characterize Rudius in a very in-your-face way that I cannot keep quiet about it. Hitogami gives us the information that Rudy's appearance in this realm is not his doing, but simply Rudius's mental image of himself. Why he looks the way that he is in this world. Rudius has already lived for 10 years in his new body, but he still sees himself as nothing more than the fat NEET that got bullied in his old world, right? His mental image hasn't shifted to match his new reality. And even in this episode, Rudius even straight up tells us that he hates meeting Hitogami because he has to see his mental image of himself, reminding him of what he truly is, or rather what Rudius thinks he truly is. This self-hatred is, in my opinion, one of the primary aspects of Rudius' character, alongside his drive for self-improvement. If and when he can get over his self-hatred, however, I do not want to spoil here. On a lesser note, that take on Jordan Peterson is way too nuanced for my liking. Dude's a bum in my eyes. Fair enough. The most reasonable criticism of my take on that guy. So, fair enough. Okay, I agree with most of your comment. Here's what I want to do. A genius choice made by the author to characterize Rudius in a very in-your-face way that I cannot keep quiet about it. So first off, when you speak honestly to your conscience, when you go into self-awareness mode or self-fixing mode, you might say, self-altering mode, you have to grapple with your real self. You know, the things about you that you don't like. When we step back from the metaphor of the show is a person who has lived in apathy and dissociation and avoidance for his entire life, sucked into pleasure and distraction and escapism for his whole life. And he comes to a turning point where everything is destroyed. He hits rock bottom. His computer is all bashed. He's kicked out onto the street. It's a turning point, and he makes a choice to do a good thing in a moment where he didn't need to do a good thing, and proves his underlying humanity. And this causes, again, we're in metaphor, not in reality, in metaphor. This causes a shattering of his self. He is no longer the person that he is, because the person that he has been up until this point cannot fathom the reality that he is grappling with. And so he is reborn as a new person with a fresh start, as one who is 35 or whatever and has wasted their entire life might wish to be. Reborn with a new start. Imagining Rudy is still a human being who is still alive in Tokyo, okay? Still there. He goes on and tries to make some new friends. Maybe he finds an apartment in a place and tries to reach out to some of the people around him. There's like a landlady there who's like his mom. There's like a landlord there who's like his dad. And there are some other people there who are like friends and siblings and brothers and people that he meets in town. He learns to go outside of himself and change some of the things. You know, he goes out with some new friends from his new part-time job that he's got in order to pay for his apartment. And he goes out with some friends, and he's capable of leaving his house for the first time in ever. And it's like, whoa, that's crazy. And he learns that he has these magic powers of being able to not be an asshole and talk to people. And people recognize him for having those magical powers. And he's capable of like providing for himself with them. And people give him money for them because he goes into a kombini and he sits there and he, checks people out and helps them buy their DVDs and their magazines and their Cokes and whatnot. But Rudy hasn't fucked anything up yet. He's gone for like a year or two or whatever. In this case, it's like 9 years. He's gone for a while in this new mode of being without fucking anything up. And then something fucks up. He oversteps somehow, and that's the big mana thing. And then something that's already extant in the environment, something unfair and weird and growing, explodes. And because of that new conflict that he's experiencing for the first time, this outside changing conflict, he goes from being where he is to a much more difficult place, a struggle. For example, he gets fired from his job, maybe. Now he's in a different place, right? Just like getting teleported, he's in a different place. And in that different place, or in between the different place and the same place, in the point where he hits rock bottom again, to some extent, he is open to change. Because he locks everything in to become this kombini arubaito, like part-time worker, but then that falls apart, and so he can change again. Who do I want to be? Who am I? And in the moment of self-realization, as he goes, who do I want to be? Who am I? He looks at himself, and he doesn't see the person who's been working a part-time job for a year. He doesn't see the person who's put his life together or put his apartment together or anything. He sees the same fat idiot NEET who is staying in his room. Because when you open yourself to yourself, you see the worst version of yourself. You are capable of seeing all of your own flaws, to some extent. And Rudy's very poignantly aware of his flaws. Do you see what I mean as like there's a layer here? In the story, he really is teleported from one place to another place because of a big thing that happens. Outside of the story, in the world of weird allegory and metaphor, is that what's going on? Or is it a change of state within Rudius? Because it's a change of state within Rudy. I mean, I'm just telling you that's what it is, right? It's both. In the story, it's a movement. In reality, metaphorical, allegorical, shadows on the wall reality, it's a change of state from one place to another place, one being to another being. And in that change of state is when people self-examine. And when you self-examine, you speak to your conscience, and your conscience tells you all the things about you that you should be doing and should not be doing. And it shines a bright and painful light upon all the things about you that are inadequate. And you see them, and you are disgusted by yourself. I've had that like 4 times in my life, where I've hit a transitional period of like rock bottominess and had to evaluate myself and seen myself as disgusting and gone through like 4 times, and I'm young. This is a real story, a human story of attempting to become redeemed, attempting to redeem oneself, making progress in it, and being unable to see your own progress. Because your self-identity has not shifted with the thing. It's also an idea that's present in Atomic Habits. It's that people change their habits based on their identities. It's not, I will go to the gym. That won't work. It won't work. I will go to the gym. It won't work. I will go to the gym on Wednesday. It will work better. But I am the kind of person who goes to the gym 3 times a week is the change. That's the one. If you can believe that in your identity, that's when it changes. So what's Rudius' identity? It's not, I am a brilliant young wizard who is good to the people around him. It's, I'm a fat, ugly NEET who's lying. I'm an imposter. And it's the same idea with imposter syndrome. You enter into a job and you don't know what you're doing and you're faking it until you make it and everybody's going, good job, buddy. You're a new hire and your sales numbers are better than all of our other new hires. And you're going, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. This is some bullshit. So the outside perspective of you is, well, look at this child who's growing so fast and has these magical powers. And the inside perspective of you is, I'm a fat, ugly idiot who doesn't know what I'm doing and everybody's going to find out about it soon enough. How interesting. How fucking interesting. I think that's perfect. I think it's perfect. That self-hatred is one of the primary aspects of Rudius' character, alongside his drive for self-improvement. And I think it is the mismatch between his identity and his current reality that is continuing to drive that progress, that movement. It's awesome. Aether. This is such a baller comment. Fuck. Oh, it's so baller. I responded to this one with a really simple response. Just, click, thank you. Because this whole comment just made a whole bunch of things about the show go and click into place for me super, super powerfully, and I love it. There's something really simple in this episode that I only now just realized. I think it's very effective, but I'm having a hard time putting it into words. Nevertheless, I will try. Simply put, it is the parallel between Eris and the bug guy and how this highlights the hypocrisy within Richard. Richard is all black and white up until this point, from what we've seen at least. Children are sacred and must be protected. Any harm done to children is evil, and anybody who commits this evil must die. This is clearly demonstrated in the cave scene, where we have him execute Bug Guy for kicking Rudy. When questioned, he has no reservations for what he's done. 0. Earlier in the episode, we see Eris do exactly the same thing as the Bug Guy. In fact, worse. She doesn't just kick the adventurer across the room, she follows up, gets on top, and beats the hell out of them. But what does Rudius do about this? Nothing. Rudy has to step in. Afterward, Rudy tends to and makes peace with the adventurers, and what is Rudius doing? Head-patting Eris. Did she not just commit a great evil? Did she not just assault a child? He doesn't correct her, he rewards her. He is perpetuating evil. Not to mention the evil he may have committed himself. Why is Eris an exception, and why is he an exception? This is a clear gap in Rudius's reasoning, and is the ultimate reason he backs down at the end of the scene. Not because Eris and Rudy claim they could make it on their own, not because Rudy admits to fearing these actions, not because Rudy prohibits them, but instead because Eris points out Rudius's hypocrisy. Bing, bing, bing. I think this ties into the idea of the mirror. Eris and the bug guy act as a mirror of one another, from which Rudius is able to reflect upon himself. Right, the one being mirrored here is Rudius. We ignore them and actively avoid them, but once our faults are made present, we are most open to change. Due to this, Rudius is able to take a step back and back down. We'll see. We also see Rudius first falter when Eris tells him that people don't like him because of his behavior, and when Rudy says he doesn't want to fear him. This is because of his goal to improve his reputation, but it isn't enough. Why is that not enough? Because doing the right thing is more valuable to him? I can't say I'm certain. Yeah, it's principle. It's that, we talked about this in Poon Poon. I will do anything to protect X is the way that you create a principle that enables any actions. It's not enough. His reputation is less important to him than killing people who hurt children, right? Even if doing so ruins his reputation, which is the most important thing to him, his underlying unspoken truth about protecting children is far more important to him in actuality. Excellent comment. Really extraordinary. Really, really good. Solatic Sayat, glad to hear your thoughts in response to my comment. I go through phases where I engage with things very consciously like this as well. Not so manic though personally, but I can see why you'd almost need this. I absolutely have needed this, and it's not really so much of a phase as it is drug-induced dissolution of the psyche or whatever. That's what it does. I also think I agree with your sentiment. There probably is more that I'm giving credit for with many anime and stories I enjoy just as entertainment. Right. So this comes back, I remember where we came from. We talked about the fluff and escapism, and I said that that's good stuff too. Usually, though, there's something more to that fluff and escapism than you think is just there. It's usually telling some stories that matter, which is interesting. But you are gravitated towards stories with magnetism, and the magnetism is produced by complexity, and the complexity draws you in. So while you might be watching the 5th, like, rom-com in high school show that you've watched this year, you're probably watching those because there's something that you get out of watching rom-coms work, and maybe you're not getting that out of your real life. That's true for me. I don't know. I started thinking about this a lot since I had time between watching this when you first posted it and now commenting. There are some interesting examples that come to mind that would probably sound incredibly silly to another person, but for me they actually end up being a bit notable. Oh, it's not silly at all. It's not silly at all. There's a reason dumb shonen is the most popular genre of anime. There really is. There's a reason that my mind is boggled by Pretty Cure. Pretty Cure's good shit, dog. It's real stuff there. Girls henshining with perfume and fighting monsters made out of souls. Like, what is that shit? I'll do Precure at some point, I swear. I swear. There's some sauce there. Also, on Nearly Considered, I actually kept reflexively trying to couch my language, and I thought I removed all of that, but clearly missed one, so you were right to point it out. I think it's just that this particular issue still bothers me quite a bit, but on the positive side, if I stay aware of it, maybe I can also stay vigilant against it. Really, though, thank you and massive respect for being willing to talk about these topics as well as being honest yourself. For me, I'm mostly anonymous behind my name and avatar, and even then, it's hard to feel like you can just be honest about those kinds of topics. It's a different matter entirely when you put your face out there and have things to lose because of what you say. Also, I've been really enjoying the reactions. I've said it before, but I'm always looking forward to the next one. I don't have much to say on this episode, but one thing you mentioned, the self-criticism of Rudy's self when he's in front of Hitogami. I honestly don't think it's criticism, but rather self-loathing. What's the difference, I would say. He can't even accept that who he was is still a part of who he is now, even though it's obviously true to some extent. I'm guessing this will remain an issue until he can fairly criticize himself, not just this outraged hatred and disgust he has. Right, he is aware of the things about him that are awful, but he is not integrated with them at all. That's why the two are separate. He only exists as fully Rudy in Rudy Land and fully previous Rudy in Hitogami Land. The one time where we have overlap is when he has empathy for the struggles of others, right? It's the moment where he's sitting around the fire with Ruijerd and he has this flash where his eyes are the other guy, right? And he's still himself and he's imagining being that, and it's a coming together. It's an integration. It's a slow process of this person and this person are aligned on something. I can see this person's perspective through my own failures. I can see what they're going through my own struggles. Oh. That's the first step. Well, I guess the first step is to see it first, and then you try to reach out to somebody who's flawed, and then you discover that you can be empathetic toward them and resonate with their struggles via your own, and then you make choices to assist or not with them, right? It's perfect. That's perfect. It's perfect. I do want to jump off of this and talk about something that's just on my mind a little bit. Thank you and massive respect for being willing to talk about these topics as well as being honest yourself. Honesty. And cringe. I posted a slam poem rap thing yesterday, and I believe in it wholeheartedly. Every word I said in there, except some of the joke stuff at the beginning, which, by the way, is meant to be dumb and self-deprecating. I posted it, and the first couple comments are people being like, "Whoa, what? This is crazy," and then the next couple comments are people being like, "Ooh, that is cringe, dog. Oh boy." Cringy. Look at this guy being all cringe over here. Let me go and find him. We'll do a duo comment spotlight here. Oh shit, he's got bars. Yeah. Nice. Wow, this was awesome. I have no words. Something else? He's too powerful. Any mindset can become the weight others are made to carry. Heed. Good stuff. Never expected, but I think I enjoyed it and cringed only a little, but overall I liked the poetry. Oh, I am getting Digibro vibes. Embrace for impact, guys. I responded to that one with, what do you even think that this implies? Like, you want to compare me to one of the most prolific and to me valued critics of anime in history? Okay. Sorry, bro. That was cringe. So sorry, I'm sure. Classic, pretty sure the billionaire mindset is, how can I exploit the poor and disenfranchised today? Absolutely, of course. Though this video was terrible to my ears, I respect and envy your creative endeavor. What a midlife crisis does to an anime tuber. God, do I look that old, really? Or, bro, you just posted cringe. This is my favorite one. I really think this is my favorite one. Bro, you just posted cringe on main. Jokes aside, though, that was really good. Impressed with the lyricism. But seriously, don't ever do that again. Keep up the great work. Much love. Pfft, mixed messages. Like, what? Why do I bring all this up? Well, it's on my mind. More importantly, it's this idea of cringe. I posted it knowing that it's dumb. I'm not a fucking rapper. I'm a white kid. I'm a 5'1.5" white kid with blue eyes who doesn't rap. I've also spent multiple years inside hip hop culture. I have been a b-boy, and hip hop and being part of rap circles in downtown Oakland is something that I did for fun. So, as cringy as you think it is that this fucking white boy is spitting, I have some history here. I just don't show it. People are way more complicated than most people give them credit for. That's not to say that my product is good or that my work is important or interesting, but I wanted to speak it, and I wanted to speak it honestly. And the response of, haha, so cringe, bro, doesn't mean anything to me. Your cringiness at my honesty indicates that I'm doing something fucking right, not wrong. That you're uncomfortable by me sharing my truth, bearing myself openly and nakedly and honestly for criticism? That you are made uncomfortable by somebody being more true than you are? That shames some people because they are unwilling to step onto a stage? Oh, nothing but wind in my sails, man. Nothing but wind in my sails. So when you, Salodic Sayat, say that you have respect for me being willing to take a true and honest perspective and to open myself up to that truth, the cringiness is a part of that. And it's also where I come from. The Patreon says creating memes and dreams. I don't make anime reactions. I create memes and dreams, and I haven't been creating enough memes. I've been getting back to the dreams part because we've been talking about the dreams in Mushoku Tensei, and we've been talking about the dreams in 86, and we've been talking about the dreams in Oyasumi Punpun. We've been talking about metaphor and allegory and dream and future and path and where we're going and purpose. Ideal and dream are one and the same. Direction and dream are one and the same. Possibility and dream are one and the same. But I haven't been making a lot of memes. Remember a few years ago, I did a fucking dance to the fucking JoJo torture dance? That's cringe as fuck. I can't even look at that shit. It's so cringy. Or I reworked the whole Kill la Kill opening to be actually rad as fuck. I really like that video. I think that 10,000 subscribers video that I made was awesome, and I stand by it. Or how about the ultra cringy Pokemon song that I did, where I expressed my desire to be the very best anime reactor? Well, guess what, motherfucker? I'm there. I am the best anime reactor. Besides maybe Psyculturists and Film Buff, maybe. But I've watched some Film Buff stuff, and I don't think Film Buff has it. I think a lot of people do think Film Buff has it, and I've got nothing but respect for the person. But I think I got the title, man. It's mine. It's mine, and I'm not going to stop. That's cringy, okay? When people do something like that, when they express themselves truly, when they say, I'm aiming for that, motherfucker, people go, no, because it shames them. Because they're not aiming for the stars. That's my take on it, at least. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's just an arrogant take. It seems like the same kind of arrogance that you get from the fools like Logan Paul and such. But Logan Paul's a multimillionaire, so there's something true to that idiocy, isn't there? There's something true to the idiocy of saying, I'm going this way. Fuck all y'all if you're not along with me. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to incorporate as many of you as I can. But to some extent, that is exactly what I'm trying to do. I've chosen a direction in these past couple of weeks, and it's caused some chaos and conflict. The Discord is still rattling around because of that chaos and conflict when I shook some things up. And it's broken a couple of eggs. Some good eggs, too. Some really good relationships with some people that I actually care about. And they've decided to go different ways, and I cannot help that. I have made my choice of direction. Same goes for the people who will cringe at somebody pointing at a dream. If you cringe at somebody expressing their dreams, I have to wonder, where are yours? Have you given up on them? And are you having that cringe response or that disgust response because the disgust is aimed at me? Or is it aimed at you? I don't know. I'm actually posing these questions. And hopefully you can see that there's some self-awareness amidst my chosen and conscious arrogance. I am being actively and with choice arrogant. That's why I titled it Billionaire Mindset instead of Millionaire Mindset or Thousand-Year Mindset. It's why I have a Keck W going when I show the $4,000 per month that I'm reaching on Patreon, a number that I did not ever think that I would reach. It's like, haha, so funny, this is fame and fortune. Yeah, this is fame and fortune for me, man. This is extraordinary. We're not done. All right, so all of that is just semi-defensive, I understand, but hopefully you get it. Hopefully something about the passion in there is of value. I don't know. I'm gonna go through this discussion on very first set questions comment because it's good stuff. I like the idea of seeing Hitogami as human conscience, maybe even combination of all human conscience. That's the collective unconscious, is the Jungian Freudian idea there. That there's a sort of human universal that's determined partly by biology and partly by society that knows what's going on and is essentially God, the judging father, because it's society and also culture and also everybody and the individual. And it's the girl who goes, and it's the guy who goes, bro, and it's the friend who goes, yeah, man. It's all of that at once because it's all a reflection socially. Yeah. Maybe even a combination of all human conscience. Fits what a god could be, also fills a role for Rudius in his mind. I mean, it literally fits what a god could be. Again, that is the theory that Jung presented about what gods are, and I believe it's the theory that Nietzsche presented about what God is. It's an externalization of our own structural intent and the cultural, multifaceted, social structural intent. Fits what a god could be, also fills a role for Rudius in his mind, as gods do. Like, truly, religious people replace their conscience with God, and vice versa, and God with their conscience. They become one and the same. The what would Jesus do is not really, hey, Jesus, what would you do? It's, what do I think that Jesus would do? If I put myself into the perspective of the perfect person, the perfect, selfless, self-sacrificing individual, what would I do if I were him? That's conscience, right? All right. Whenever he is in doubt if he is doing something right or wrong, he can use Hitogami's ideas as a lighthouse helping him navigate. That's what the conscience does. But he also doesn't take what Hitogami says and follow it exactly with complete trust. Do you listen to your conscience? When you reach out for a 14th Oreo and your brain goes, maybe you shouldn't have that, man. How often do you reach out and take the Oreo anyway? Often. Let's go back to something harsh and unfair. Do you think that the men who commit acts of sexual assault believe that they are justified and correct in doing so? You think that their conscience is inactive? I don't think so. I think they just tamp it down and push it away. Unless they're real oblivious. And I think you have to be like, you have to have some difference, some psychopathy, some inability to empathize in order to really, like, not see that you're causing harm. But your conscience is there. I think the conscience is there in the back. And I say that as somebody who's never committed any act of violence against another person to any degree anywhere near that. But I've done things that were wrong. I've stolen. I've been lecherous. I've been avoidant, massively avoidant. And my conscience is always there. It's not like the conscience is gone. The conscience is like, you shouldn't be doing this. I'm like, fuck off, bro. I want to jerk off right now. Ah! You know? It's like, fuck you. Fuck all y'all. I'm doing what I want. Because the conscience isn't as strong as you sometimes. It's pretty fucking cool. Still, thinking of it in terms of Hitogami shows Rudius truths he doesn't want to see, instead of Hitogami shows him what he doesn't know, will make you miss other implications. Right. Yeah. And that's why I like the Hitogami is the conscience of all of humanity theory over Hitogami is Rudius's conscience theory. That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense to me. It makes Hitogami able to understand and keep Rudius in line while also having other thoughts and pieces of information unknown to Rudius. Well, I would say this in response to that. Your conscience has pieces of information that are not actively known to you. When you reach out for that, for that cigarette that you know that you're not supposed to have because you quit smoking, your conscience knows that the cigarette is bad for you, and you consciously know that it's bad for you, but it's just telling you, pieces of information that you are not actively and staying consciously aware of. You'd rather that information stayed subconscious, because while it's subconscious, you can justify reaching out and taking the cigarette. And if you really sit there and think about it, you'll recognize that the thing will destroy you and you'll choose not to do it. And you don't want to not do it. I've been battling with this with my vape. A couple days ago, I just unscrewed the top. I haven't actually touched a vaporizer in days now. I just unscrewed the top and put it over there. And every day, 3 or 4 times a day, I get a fucking craving. And I can look over and I can see it. And also seeing it, or seeing the vape, triggers the craving, which is part of the thing. And I'm watching it in part of Atomic Habits, because I'm watching the craving happen. I'm watching the cue happen. I'm like, okay, that's happening. But I have to remain vigilant. I have to put effort into following my conscience's demands, because the conscience knows that you don't want the thing, but the body wants it. It's weird. It's weird and complicated, and I love it. Also, as one of the people that complained about too many tangents last episode, I can safely say my problem was not tangents or you looking at things from different lenses. I would feel really sad if you took my personal criticism that way. I'm subbed to this channel because of your ability to look at things from different angles. Sick. My problem with last episode was tangents overshadowing the episode discussion instead of enriching the episode discussion. For instance, the only tangent in this episode was about Hitogami being conscience, but that made me look at the story from a different lens, and even though I still think your interpretation doesn't really work with what story has presented to us so far, it still opened my eyes to a different interpretation than my own, meeting in the middle ground. That being said, as you can guess, I had not much problem with this week's discussions. Rad. And we get our response from this from Tengen Forger, but he's not, though. He's a literal one of the gods of that world. Yes, and he's Rudy's conscience, or the collective conscience of humanity, or the author, or morality, however you want to look at it, or God as an externalization of Rudy, however you want to look at it. His conscience is an asshole who laughs at him when he does stupid things, shows him himself as he actually is, the disgusting side of him, all his flaws and the things that he doesn't like, tells him what he needs to do and what he needs not to do, and is an asshole. Oh, it's perfect. It's perfect. Yes, he's also a god in the story. Very first question answers this perfectly in his next post. At Tengen Forger, how do you know that? This is an episode 10 reaction, and all the information that Rudius and we know might or might not have been true. It's fun theorizing, but keep in mind this is an episode 10 reaction. It's not a guy watching episode 10 after reading 25 volumes of the light novel reaction. Yeah, any of the stuff where people come in, all of the people who have argued that that Hitogami is not in any way Rudius' conscience are doing it from the perspective of, I know more about this story than you do because I've read ahead. I don't give a fuck. Your perspective is wrong because it's right, but it's not complete because it's both. Ta-da. Very normal. Writes, I appreciate your talking through the sexuality and stuff, because it's stuff I'll mostly refuse to talk about myself. I think I just don't have someone I trust to have that specific conversation with. Hearing you ask and answer allows me to compare contrast with yours without having to directly answer myself, and I found that helpful. I might have to re-listen to some of this comment section again to return to the ideas and continue processing. Fucking awesome. Takes me back to the first comment by Aditya about the reflection sequence that's going on. And by reflecting as honestly and openly as I can show you parts of myself that you might resonate with. And, you know, if I focus on talking about the things that are hard to talk about, maybe I'll talk about things that you've never heard somebody talk about before. And maybe you'll have that magical circumstance that I think that kids who are actively and genuinely like not sure about who are going through what I'll call as like childhood dysphoria, not necessarily gender, but in any form of dysphoria, like not sure what it is, and they see somebody in the world who's like an actively openly queer person, and something clicks inside the kid and they go, oh, that's really cool, that's a person that could be, right? When their like structures don't enable for a person that like that, and so they find a place where they're like, oh, something that might be me in the world. And so when I open up with things like that, or I express stuff about my sexuality, you know, I got pretty deep into the sexual stuff with some stuff that's not acceptable to say. It is not acceptable, I think, in most circles to say, well, first off, I experimented with homosexuality. And then it is doubly wrong to say I experimented with homosexuality and discovered that it is truly and genuinely not for me. And that the things that made me experiment with it were more like paraphilias or or fetishes, honestly, built out of trauma and essentially daddy issues and all these other things. That is not a story that you hear very often. And so I think it's a really important story to get out there because, man, it put me into turmoil in myself for a while because I was at odds with my own identity. And I figured out a little smidgen of what that identity dissonance can mean and what it can do to a person. And I've solidified it, and it's magical. And I could have solidified it in a way that would be incorrect for me. And that's very scary. So, seems like a worthwhile story to tell. If you resonate with any of those pieces of the story, fucking awesome. Fucking awesome. What more could I ask for? Holy shit. I shared my truth with somebody in the world, and they stretched out and resonated with it? What the fuck? There's a line in the dumbass rap slam poetry song that I did, which is, just beyond the struggle that blocks the straightest, fastest path lies the answer you must snatch out of the ether, stretch and match your fractal self to truth attach, then walk from within, fire back. What is that? Lies the answer. So beyond the straightest, fastest path is a Symphogear thing. The fastest path will always have the hardest obstacle. You must smash into it. Reach out into the void of the unknown. Stretch and match your own fractal self to the truth. Then walk, changed, shattered, broken, with truth filling in the gaps out from the fire like kintsugi. That's the idea here. So it's like, well, if I can be a part of the ether, and if I can express into the ether some of my fractal self, that you could reach out into the ether and match your own self to, click, a bunch of yourself just locked into place, and you went, oh, it's reasonable for a person to feel that way. Same with the thing with Aditya. You look at me and I reflect to you, haha, that joke was funny, and you're like, haha, that joke was funny, and now we've confirmed, oh, okay, more people than just me agree that this joke is funny. I'm not just an idiot who's wrong about everything. Cool, rad, that's good. That seems to be, to some extent, the core of why we love watching stuff with people. You know, you ever show a movie that you love to somebody who hasn't seen it? What are you doing during that movie? Half the time, you're looking at them, not at the movie. Why? Why are you doing that? And you're like offended if they are not paying attention. You're like distraught if they pick up their phone. It destroys me if I'm showing a piece of media that I think is important to somebody and they're not paying true attention. It's why when you watch reactors and they're like, wait, what happened? Fucking infuriating. Why? Because you want to know how they judge the thing, because you want to know if your judgment of the thing is valid. Why do people say stupid shit facetiously like, if you don't like XYZ, we can't be friends? Well, we need to figure out some part of our fractal that lines up so that we can understand each other, right? But as we're watching this one thing together, and as you're showing Redline to a friend and being like, this is the greatest piece of animation in the entire universe, my friend. You must understand. And they're going, titties. Her name's Cherry Boy. And you're like, fuck, God, no, you need to get it. What are you doing? Well, what's going on there? Why are you glancing over them to make sure that they're laughing at the jokes that you're laughing at? Because you want confirmation that your perspective is right. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I'm happy to provide any portion of that to you, very normal. Continue to be, quote, very normal, or as unfucking normal as you want, because I promise you something that's really important. Something that's really, really important to recognize. Everybody else is trying really hard to look normal because they're terrified of being unique, and they're very terrified of being judged. Especially being judged as cringeworthy. God, I hate that shit. I hate that shit. It is used so often to dismiss people with passion. Oh, how cringeworthy. You think you can make it? Haha, loser. Fuck you. Fuck you. Sorry. Ooh, yeah, this is good stuff. Bionic9998 came late to these reactions. Just wanted to let you know, since in the first episode you mentioned you didn't know, the studio for this series was created specifically to adapt this anime. The founder, who had worked on a ton of other anime, read the original series, MT web novel, and decided that this series needed a proper adaptation, but because of how good he believed it to be. So he brought together a ton of cool animators and producers from other studios he'd worked on previously to found this brand new studio specifically for adapting this anime to its conclusion. Also, another cool thing about the studio is that the animators of this series actually fought each other metaphorically, maybe not, to animate certain scenes. Everyone at the studio loves this series, and it shows in the quality that they've put into it. Same thing happened in Symphogear, interestingly. In later seasons of Senki Sessho Symphogear, it is known truth that animators fought over which of them would get to animate which transformation sequences, and to some extent, that's why those are to my mind, some of the best transformation sequences ever put to paper or digital art. They're just godlike. They're just so good. Now, I mean, there are a lot of henshin sequences in history because it's a classic idea of like you integrate with something else and you become Super Saiyan. Rawr! It's like it's exactly the thing. You get inside the robot and choose to pilot yourself, and you go, "I'm going," and then it goes, "Rawr! I'm a big man now." Or the Power Rangers go, "I'm ready to be a hero," and then they're a hero, and it's perfect, right? I am the embodiment of hero and also man. It's so simple, right? It's so simple. Or in Simple Gear, I sing, and my resonance with fundamental truth grants me power to defeat chaos in the form of noise. Literally the whole story of Simple Gear. So good. So good. So dumb. I love it so much. BE2EO, kind of difficult to comment on some of your interpretations of MT since I've already seen the series and I know a lot about the underlying lore. I'm fearful of accidentally spoiling things. I have to admit that I'm surprised at your interpretation of Hitogami as part of Rudeus' subconscious. I'd never thought of that, but I can see how you get there. Using your layers analogy, Escher, I mostly see the leaves and concentrate on the surface story. For me, Hitogami is as much a real entity as is the dragon god or Laplace, the demon god. I'm enjoying your analyses though, so thanks for reacting to this series. I look forward to meeting the dragon god and demon god and pissing off a bunch of you by saying that they're things that they're not literally in the story. Like the evil dragon god is an embodiment of chaotic evil, my guys. I'll tell you that right out the gate. It's true. I guarantee. I don't know what embodiment of chaotic evil. I don't know in what form. I don't know what they'll take or what they'll do. But they're an embodiment of chaotic evil and the destructive force that is the creative force. That's why they were able to bring Rudy here and Hitogami wasn't. It's perfect. Makes perfect sense. Joe O with a slightly silly one. About 16 minutes into your video, I decided to go upstairs and make some tea because you brought it up and it sounded like something I wanted. While I was up there, I was thinking about how the media you watch does dictate your behavior. I was probably going to make tea later anyway, but watching your video specifically made me want it now. Funnily enough, I was thinking that this is exactly why people spend billions on marketing. 10 minutes later and you're talking about advertising. Lol. More of a random tangent by me, but I thought it was kind of funny how everything ties together. Oh yeah, it is. It is funny how everything ties together, isn't it? Well, that's exactly what happened. You had an underlying potential for desire for something, and I gave you a cue, and that cue turned into a craving, which turned into your response to it, which turned into the resolution and fulfillment and satisfaction of having tea. And then you came back and you sat down, and then you got the double satisfaction of being like, wow, that's the same thing that he's talking about. Weird. Yeah. That's legit, man. I'm not even telling stories, right? But if I were to try to do it really compellingly, I would tell you a story built around like getting up and making tea or something like that, and how tea made me feel better during the day, or how I had it would start with a problem that I had to solve, right? Hey guys, I woke up this morning and I actually had this problem this morning, right? I woke up this morning and I was so fucking exhausted. I don't know what it was. I guess I didn't get enough sleep, but I'm going to make some tea and the tea's going to make everything better. And then we time lapse through me making tea and I sip the tea and my eyes light up and I go like, oh, thank God I'm awake now. All right, everybody, we can go and do the thing. Well, you've just been convinced that tea does a cool thing and maybe you should have some tea too because tea makes that guy happy and you're aligned with his face and welcome to advertising. Welcome to advertising. Actively watch the ads that pop up for you. See what story they tell you. See what stories they tell you. They tell you the story of, usually, something that's not going right, and then something happens that changes everything because of the product. It's like the dumb ads, the bad ads that are like the as seen on TV ads. You know, some lady is, I don't know, it's like a dryer cleaner. Okay, that's not even a thing that exists. Are you tired of cleaning out your dryer? And she's like banging her head on the inside of the dryer. Does this happen to you? And she's smashing her fist into the inside of the dryer and like pulling parts out of it like, oh no, what do I do? Introducing Dryer Swiffer. And she holds a sparkling thing. Wow, Dryer Swiffer makes my life so easy. Only $19.99. Call now. What just happened there? Well, you've had times when you had hard difficulty with things, and she had an easier time. Cue, craving, response, reward. Bam! Ha! Please, I would like to buy 17 Dryer Swiffers. It's fucking shit. It's the same stuff. It's the same sauce. Okay. Good comment, Joe O. Great insight, I would say. Purple Cyanide. Hey there, Teeaboo. Just wanted to mention that I noticed there were some kind of quick bits of loud static that have been popping up every once in a while in some of your videos. An example is here. Not trying to do anything, but let you know that it exists so that it may be fixed if possible. I fucking know it, dog. Oh, I've been working against those things for forever. I replaced my whole motherboard because I thought that was part of the problem. It was necessary to do anyway. A bunch of my USB headers were failing. Like, I would plug something into the USB and it would just... No. And that's rough when I would plug my, like, cam link where the camera's plugged in. I'd plug that into it and it would be like, no. It's not connected at all. I'm like, it's connected, man. So I switch it to another USB and it's like, bing, it's connected now. Next day I turn it on. It's like, no cam link connected. The fuck? What? Put it back in the other one where it was before. No cam link connected. Put it in the front-facing USB. Cam link connected. Fuck. So I switched out the motherboard and I haven't had that problem yet. But the clicks persisted. And then I went and I figured out why. It's because the AAC compression encoder on DaVinci Resolve, Blackmagic DaVinci Resolve, the video editing program that I use, has some flaws with it. It's just not great. And what happens is the video encoder, as far as I can tell, goes faster than the audio encoder does. And so the audio encoder jumps to skip, and it puts in pure digital noise in the interim, which is bad. Real bad. I switched the encoding settings like a little bit, and it seems to have fixed the problem completely. So as long as I record to linear PCM, which will mean like a 5 to 8% increase in file sizes and thus upload times, which sucks, by the way. As long as I record to linear PCM and render to it, there shouldn't be any more clicks. So it should be finally fixed. I'm as pissed about it as you are. I hate them too, but I genuinely could not figure them out. And people thought that they were somewhere else in the chain, that they're caused by the mic or caused by this. No. They're not in the digital copy of my recordings. They're not in my recordings at all. So when I listen to them in editing, those clicks do not appear. It's only after the render, which, like, I would have to listen to the entire video, post-editing it. After choosing that this is good and done, I'd have to listen to it all again to find the clicks. Anyway, I think I've eliminated them, so that should be good. Miva writes, and I actually had to read through this one line like 7 times because I didn't understand it completely. Miva writes, I like how you saying that our eyes aren't open and keep standing on your ground even though it may seem arrogant. So I will restate this. I like how you are saying that our eyes are not open and keep standing on your ground even though it may seem arrogant. Yeah. I mean, I will admit that there is potential in anything that I say, more than potential, likelihood that at least 50% of what I say is probably incorrect, probably just misaligned, incomplete, childish, foolish, whatever. But there are some things that are worth standing for, and there are some pieces of those incorrect things. The other 50%, there are some pieces that I know are true, and I will not back down on them. I will with every idea, I will be open to being proven wrong. But until shown evidence, if somebody is just saying, no, it's not like this, no, you shouldn't do this, it's not going to work for me, man. It's not going to work for me. There is a VN titled When the Seagull Cry by the same creator as Higurashi that has as its entire theme, without love, it cannot be seen. Basically, we will only see truth from our own perspective, regardless of the actual truth and other people's truth. This truth thing also got its own focus and was labeled as red truth being the absolute truth and blue truth as the piece of truth according to each personal experience. The VN is a wild ride exploring these truths, with both mystery and fantasy worlds existing at the same time. TLDR, I got reminded once again that not everything is as it seems. You have to open your mind and, most importantly, your heart to believe the existence of other truth that may exist in your blind spot. Bada bingo, bada bango. I hard agree on every front, I think. Absolutely. I also really like the idea of this like red truth and blue truth because I've come to the pretty solid conclusion that everything is magnets. I mean, I actually believe that. You can cringe at it if you want to, but watch me get proven right. Everything is unities of semi-balanced directionalities. Magnetism itself is one of those fundamental forces, and it's the fundamental force that is ordered fundamental forces, and we are a manifestation of it. Gravity is the fundamental ordering force that is chaos, entropy, the bringing of all things together into the most static state that they can be, whereas magnetism is the one that puts them into an ordered alignment. And so ideation is magnetism as well. And when I talk about that idea of two polar opposite ideas, that there is a truth that is somewhere in the linking of the two, combining the whole of the one and the whole of the other, not cutting them all off to form some compromise in the middle, but combining the whole of the one and the whole of the other. And it really makes me think, why is it that people who are dedicated to one extreme of a binary, for example, abortion, right? Dedicated pro-life, dedicated pro-choice, or let's do the more fun one, dedicated anti-women's rights and dedicated pro-killing babies. Because there's the sides, right? It's the same thing. Pro-life, pro-choice. No. Anti-women's rights and pro-killing. And pro-killing babies, because that's how the other side, the sides view each other. Why are they so driven to find people who disagree with them and yell at them? Why do people who disagree with each other, why do they have such a hard time just letting it go? Because magnets are drawn to each other by their opposites. That's why. That's it. Ideas that clash are drawn to each other. Polar opposites attract. Anyway, magnets. So the idea of blue and red truth is kind of like, yes, indeed. Alex EJ24, the world is most dangerous when all you see is green lights. My Monogatari quote for the week to connect to the pre-discussion. Godlike. When all you see is green lights, you just go forward. Red lights stop stuff. Johannes Bowers. Rudy is still coming to grips with the morality and mortality of this world. Among the many daunting tasks before him in aiding Ruijerd's rehabilitation of the Superb's reputation is the revelation that Ruijerd was never exaggerating about the violence of his past and his present. Here we have a Dark Avenger Paladin type who has two default modes, Protect Children and Violent Purge. The quest to open his eyes to the shades of gray where the world lives outside of the black and white lenses he has been existing under for 400 plus years is indeed a deep-rooted challenge. Great. I'm gonna acknowledge without reading through Deus Ex Mangaka's comment. Deus Ex, I've done so. I'm no sweat. I see what you're doing, and I recognize your desire to reach out to somebody that you see hurting. But the traumas that are there are much thinner than like deep and lasting ones, and I'm actively taking steps to overcome it. So no sweat, man. Appreciate your concern. Chernobog, I skimmed through the comments and didn't find much in regards to this little tangent here at 136.22. Your argument being, sorry for paraphrasing, totally okay. As with before, you paraphrasing indicates to me whether you've actually interpreted what I've said. Because if you say, what you said was, fuck all blue people, they suck and are murderers, I'll be like, well, that's not what I said. So when you say what you say, then we can come to a conclusion. Anyway, your argument being, sorry for paraphrasing, what Rudius was told about the Spurds was wrong. But later in that scene, Ruijerd himself admits that he and a lot of the other Spurds did a lot of killing. There is a layer of the unknown in this, but the fact remains that during the war, the Spurds killed a lot of innocent people indiscriminately, to the point that they still talk about it 400 years later. They may not have meant to do so, but to absolve them from the responsibility is the equivalent to justifying a drunk person's actions and committing crimes by saying, oh, it's fine because they weren't themselves. Maybe this episode can elucidate a bit the arguments other people were trying to bring up, in that Ruijerd's reputation, and by extent the Superbs, is not misplaced. They are dangerous, and people should be rightly afraid of them to a degree. Other than that, I enjoyed this review and discussion. Love the perspective. Good stuff. Crow writes, wait, that explanation about trying to find the specific type of pornography by the end of the session is exactly how half of the time it goes for me. Huh, I never thought about it. There are so many things you talk about and explain that are exactly how I am, which makes me aware of it, and with me being more aware of it, hopefully I can try to fix or stop these things. It's a reflection, man. I'm the mirror. It's all. I am the mirror, and you're a mirror to me. And if we actively engage within the comments, our mirrors are clear. And if we do so with true and self-aware honesty, then our mirrors are clear. And I'll get a bit of an understanding of you, and you'll get a bit of an understanding of me. Obviously, an imbalanced understanding, because I have the visual medium to go with, and all of audio and the audio-visual experience. But that's the nature of it. Christopher writes, I just realized that maybe it was a good idea to shun Ruijerd out of cities. Like, if this is how he acts seeing petty crime, God forbid he finds himself in a poverty-ridden city full of people who just want to keep on living. And my response to this is, but he is justice, and with his cleansing judgment, he will obliterate whole neighborhoods of ne'er-do-wells and bring fiery wrath sent from beyond truth to Yeah, maybe casting that guy out is not a bad idea. Excellent. Oh, yeah, I'm going to address this. So Reiki, R-E-I-K-E-I, writes, you removing my comments when I'm trying to help you enjoy the act of watching shows more has me seriously confused. I never remove comments. If your comments have been removed, and I responded to this, if your comments have been removed, it's because my mods, who are very few and rarely do this, have judged them to contain spoilers, or because YouTube is removing them automatically because you're using toxic language, or trying to post links which is what I assume was what was going on. Make sure you're not trying to post links, and make sure that your comments contain relatively few words that might trip up the YouTube algorithms, and your comments will go through. I guarantee it. I don't delete comments. It's a forum for open discussion. It would be so hypocritical to delete comments. I disagree with this guy. I don't know how to answer this argument. I'm going to delete it. That'll show him. Fucking idiotic. Reiki's whole point, however, is also fucking idiotic. They want me to get Smooth Video Project and use it to watch all the anime that I watch in 60 FPS. Anime is not drawn in 60 FPS. It's drawn on 2s and 24 FPS. That it is drawn that way produces a different experience. All of the animation, the stuff that we're watching, is based around the frame rate of the thing. When you interpolate frames to create smoothness, you remove the movement. You remove the way everything looks. Watching anime in 60 FPS is actually a travesty, and that it looks good to your eye is an indicator that your eye is flawed, not an indicator that the animation is flawed. Get used to 24 FPS, actually 12 FPS, or fuck the fuck off my channel. Stupid idiot. Absolutely no. Hall of Shame, Reiki. Get Smooth Video Project and stop being a 24 FPS casual with a headache from choppy motion. Also, don't use GPU acceleration on it. So many layers of wrong here. No, you are wrong and dumb. And this is incorrect. And anybody who watches animation, and Japanese 24 to 12 FPS animation in 60 FPS, is doing it wrong. Straight up, you're doing it wrong. It is meant to be perceived in the medium that it is being perceived in. You fool. Okay. And that's it. Holy shit, we ended on a negative one. Awesome. That's all of the comment spotlight. 1 hour and 40 minutes. Not fucking bad, man. Not fucking bad. Okay, it's 12:03. I'm gonna take a break, use the bathroom and stuff, brew some more tea, and then I'll probably record Mushoku Tensei today. Awesome. See you all in a bit. Thanks for watching the comment spotlight. See you for the actual episode. Peace. Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo, and I'm speaking mildly loudly because my air conditioner is on, but that's okay. I am here for Mushoku Tensei episode 11, which doesn't work as a pun at all anymore. Damn. I already did the comments discussion. It took me about an hour and a half. Just you took a little break, used the bathroom, did some other stuff. Why am I so dark? Oh, that's why. It's because there's a pure black screen in front of me where there will be screens soon. Makes perfect sense. Our squad watched Ruijerd murder a person and have put some boundaries down for, hey, Ruijerd, you don't get to do that, my guy, even if they kicked a child. Also, like, what the fuck, bro? And now they're going to trade jobs with a slightly higher ranked guild group people thing in order to, I think, increase, via Rudy's plan, increase their own standing and make more money and stuff. So, let's see how that goes. That's basically where we're at, I think. Like, we exchanged the thing with the job. We had this experience with Eris where she punches the kids, and then that becomes an interesting contrast to Ruijerd's sort of hypocrisy around hurting kids and protecting kids and stuff. And now we're moving into the future toward the next day. Let's see how it goes. Mushoku Tensei episode 11, beep beep timer. Oh, hi Roxy! Where is you? What is this? Is this a cataclysm? Did something bad happen? Looks like something bad happened. What? Rudy. Where is this? Oh, this is the cataclysm. The literal mana cataclysm. Great. Or maybe it was monster attacks instead or something like that. I'm sorry, who are you? Oh man, she got the spinnies and her tits are being not shown to me. Oh, hello. I love her. Are they part of the former adventuring party? Whoa, what? What? Why did those three go missing? He has no reason to know that he should. Wow. Strong belief in you. That's awesome. cute. That's very cute. Wow. I've got a bad rep, eh? Yeah, he doesn't have a great rep, huh? Interesting. Interesting. Whoa. Whoa, what was that? Yeah, that's cool. It's a lot of words that I'm not going to get, and I just don't care. But, wow, so something happened at home with the monsters and stuff. Some of them went missing during the cataclysm. Oh! A monster hunting job. It's a mystery. Yeah. Mysterious is in the title. Yeah, we'll see, man. I wouldn't assume. Oh boy, yeah, that's a bit of a weight around your neck, huh? Trees and trees. Oh, it's them again. Oh, we're gonna use them to demonstrate real evil? Multiples. Eris, what are you doing? Just got the tail, huh? Alright, so we're gonna be at odds with these people. But I think this is gonna be bigger than any of us can deal with, and a lot of us are gonna die. They're way overconfident. I expect them to die. So are they. Competition. We just slay them. Yeah, but they could also die. Yeah, but they could also die. Good angle choices. He's correct in this. Huh. Almost stepping on something dangerous, eh? Truly. No. Dun 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 dun. We're in the. Whoa! It has a tongue and human teeth. Yeah, let's see if they can deal with it. No. No, they cannot deal with it. Dude, you might get one of them killed by doing that, man. Dude, that's running on anime logic. Dude, what if they don't get hurt a little? No, it's not, dumbass. I said it last episode. We're going to use them to show that real horror exists in this world. We've made an emotional connection with them. They can die. You didn't act. You are responsible. Great cut. Fuck. Once we win this, the pig guy is gonna come back and try to steal the prize. That's my expectation. Sick. Good job, guys. Rudy, you have to deal with that. You caused that death unnecessarily. You directly caused it. But why didn't you step in one moment earlier? Yeah, that one's your fault, man. What's Richard's gonna say here? Line. Mm-hmm. What Rudy says, right? Don't say anything, Eris. You thought it was a video game, man. You thought it would be a scripted sequence. Selfishness. Unforgivable. Can't bring him back. It's nice of you to say, but I disagree. And why are you blaming a child? We actively made the choice. Fair enough. Why the snake? He is unworthy of patting his head, yeah. Also, the time when you protected... What? Oh, Richard, you're so hypocritical, my guy. You're trying so hard to follow some Pride and Justice stuff that just doesn't work with this world. We haven't been ambushed by Pig Guy yet. I'm surprised. Shit, carrying out your guy's half a body. Yeah, this better affect you, Rudy. Your actions have significant consequences. But that wasn't the monster. Okay. Cool. So I was wrong. I was wrong about the pig guy idea. Another solid cut transition. Really solid. Very gray episode. Interesting that. What the fuck is that? Shit. He's probably already dead, bro. So now we're going to be colored by the previous instance. And we go. No hesitation this time. Okay. All right. Learn from your mistakes and don't let it happen again. Good. Do not jump in a fight. Ever. Awesome, but... God, Eris, you too? With the jumping? This is a really solidly coherent sequence. I like it a lot. Yo, you better be moving, yeah. Wow. Wow, rad. Oh, I want to see that again. Oh, who was that? No, who animated that? I've seen that animator before. Oh, that too. That impact frame was, that was somebody. Nice catchy. All right, everybody move. Everybody move. Everybody dodge. No? Not gonna fall over? Okay, there we go. Cool. Fun. Cool. What about the guy you were saving? What about the guy you were trying to save? Sometimes even if you make the right choice, you can't save everyone. Oh, there are layers. Wow, okay. And it ticks him the hell off. Even when they made the right choice, they couldn't save him. This guy's gonna die if he mocks them. If he mocks them, Ridger is going to pin him to a wall. Are you about to rob us? What? Did they lose their adventurer's permits or something? Great. Just your profits. He's the best at talking in Demon God in terms of voice actors. No, you cannot negotiate with exploiters. Just break his legs. Would be unfair. I think Rugierd is just going to stab him through. I'm really scared in this moment. I have a greater goal. No, 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 no. Even if I have to blank, 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 I will do anything. I will do anything to produce X. We talked about that. Anything can be justified. Your storm inside. Oh, shit. Yeah, there we go. I thought he might do something like that. We said it was our name, bro. Sometimes a bad rep is really useful. I will take the blame. Yeah. Hey, buddy. Maybe don't. Yeah. Yep. Yup. 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 Should have thought of that. How dare you use that against me? How dare you? We'll come back. We'll come back. We'll find your ass. Clear? Yas, queen. Yas. Holy shit, Richard. Oh, sometimes being real mean can be real helpful. And so our party is split. He'll find you. Hi, guys. Oh, they won't associate with you anymore. Oh no, they're gonna run away. Prejudice is stronger than reality. Oh, it's not. Rough fucking day. Hoof. Hoof. Hoof, 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 hoof. Yeah, man. Guy lost his friend today. Hi. I've just been sitting on a rock. Yeah, let me. Great. Steps behind him. Cross, cross. Yep. We face opposite directions. We have reconciliation, the crucial part. Both people recognize their own potential fault. And the good intentions of the other. Both apologize to the other. Yep. This is how we reforge a connection. I didn't see things from your perspective. You're not a child either. You're a true warrior too. Like you said to Kurt. Ah, empathy. Desperate to protect Eris. Eh? Why y'all looking at me? That's dangerous, though. Good question. It's a way of being. It's his rule set. It's his rule set. I am the kind of person who follows my principles regardless of the world. Cool. Something that Rudy has never had. What did Rudy ever have to be proud of? I will do it anyway. Yeah, no, that's the answer. Hmm. Hey. True. Hey. We're both kind of the same. Ha ha ha. Primo stuff. Yeah, he has to remove his sword from that, the weapon from the hand. Yep, both of them do. Both of them have to disengage from fighting mode in order to... Oh, Hibiki! Hibiki, Symphogear! 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 Oh, and a third. No, but it did a thing to you inside your brain, bro. It did a thing. Bushido, man. Mirrors. Well, you respect him in some way, to some degree. So now the three are actually bonded because they've been through hardship. Sick, nasty. Let's go. Set up for next time. Got a couple minutes. Oh! That's actually a good solution, isn't it? I don't think it's the hair, man. I think it's the whole deal. Huh. He does look good like that. No, she's just saying it because it's nice. You got a hat? Don't put a dumb hat on him, please. Oh. That's good, yeah. Rad, we did it. And that's the dead end, I guess? I don't know. I could work with people? Can I work with people? Oh, like a wolf pack. Like a pack of wolves. Oh, and they're interacting. Oh, we can disagree without fighting each other. Yes. Let us set up the rules of engagement within this. Yes! We're a group now. We work together. Sick. Fuck. Oh. God, this show's so fucking good. Fuck you, show. Ah! It enrages me that the show is so good. And it was chock full of cool animation in this episode. Rad. What else could I ask for? So uncaring. Just nope, nope, nope. No. No. Hey. Socialization via. No. But of course, exactly correct. It's dumb, but of course it's exactly correct, right? He will continue pushing those boundaries until the end of time. And I would too. Maybe not, but I would too. Or at least I'd ideate it. Love the lizard thing that they're writing. It's rad. Oh, to a new place we go. Oceans and cityscapes. Oh, a boat. A nice boat, too. Ha. Man, that elf lady is something else. Woolly. Hooty. Yeah, they're gonna collide. Looking forward to the second core. Thank you for watching. Sick. I actually didn't realize that that was the core break after 11. I thought it would be after 12 or 13. Rad. I'm happy. This episode is dope. I think this episode is fucking good. Like really quite solid. Again, there are some layers here, and we'll unpack some of them, but there are also some things that are just what they are here, and those are fine. This whole sequence was a little bit confusing to me. Roxy goes to a place for the list of the dead. It was just unclear where we're at, is the thing. It's like, are we in this, is this the dilapidation of the city where we were? Where in like Ranoa or Roa, not Ranoa, wherever we were, is that this the city? Is this Paul's hometown? Is this, where is this? I don't know. But then we run into these adventurers who are pretty clearly members of Paul's thing. He's a tough bastard, all that jazz. Oh, do you know Paul? And they look at each other like, oh, interesting. We get the letter, which expresses a lot of, like, it's that same sequence where we went back through and we were like, monsters are coming up, and we see Paul fighting more monsters. It's like, okay, there's something going on in the world as a whole. This keeps that chugging along. It's not just there's this one limited perspective that Rudy has. We're able to expand out our perspective. And it's kind of interesting that our perspective on the world's affairs expand when Rudy makes connections with other people and expands his worldview to include empathy with others. It's kind of interesting that our whole perspective on all the events becomes broader when his ability to take in information and people becomes broader. Kind of like it's true. Kind of like it's true. Kind of like if you start to actually and actively understand the people around you, you will have a better understanding of the wider world as a whole. That tracks to me, which is cool. Bunch of people are missing. Norn is in my care. Weird. Don't know where you are. I'm going to put off looking for you. I actually really like this. It's Paul saying there's a gradation of importance here, and it's not that you're not important, it's that I believe in your skill and ability, and I don't think that I need to spend my effort and energy going out and saving your ass. You can save yourself. I'm gonna go save your sisters and your mom, because they need more saving. And then he shows humility. I'm gonna go to this place, I'm gonna leave some messages. If you find anybody sent word, please do the same. And he says, if you know of me or know of my family, you might have an idea that I'm a bad person. You might fucking hate me. I'm sure some of you don't think the best of me. This self-awareness. I won't ask to be forgiven. Insult me if you want. Do what you want to me. I can't offer you anything. Just please, 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 please help. What a humble and interesting thing that we get from Paul. Really fascinating. I don't know what any of the stuff that we see in the sequence is. I guess it's money making or something. I don't really know. It's cool though. And we just sort of hard cut to going on the mission, which is rad. It's The show is so good at just moving us through to the next important thing instead of wallowing in dumb shit. Okay, we're going to a mysterious monster. We are overconfident. We can probably slay it, no problem. It's true, but we are overconfident. And we can say goodbye to our money troubles for a while. This is like making your purchases before you've made your money. It's like thinking about how great it'll be when we've gotten past the pressure and the difficulty and only focusing on the goal. What you need to be doing is preparing yourself for the difficulty and the pressure and focusing on that. The goal will come. The effort and the difficulty and the obstacle is the thing that you need to be focused on. If you're distracted by the goal, the thing that lies beyond it, you will lose. You will lose, man. Yay, yay, yay. And we get this tension between him and Ruijerd. This is great. This is exceptional, right? How many times have you walked with somebody where there was a fight that hadn't been resolved yet, and you're like, you know, you're walking around the house with your parents, and you had a spat, and you haven't had a resolution to it, and you're like on tiptoes around each other, dancing around each other. That's exactly it. It's gonna come up at some point, and it might explode out in a really scary way. That's what happens. Move forward into the trees. I like the visual language here, and I like that everything is gray. You know, the last time that everything was gray was when it was all rainy and gray and stuff was going dark. Why are things gray now? Why is everything desaturated? Well, because we're in a misty, foggy forest. Why are we in a misty, foggy forest? Why is that where this monster is? Because scary monsters live in misty, foggy forests. But also, the gray is a liminal space. It's a space in between spaces. We're not in a city. We're out in the wild. We're in the unknown. And in the unknown is where we find ourselves and our own monstrousness. So, we get this conflict between these two people. It's Detuendo! These guys are over-arrogant, and the kids are less arrogant. I love that we do this little moment where Eris is just sort of ignoring this whole conversation that happens. They just let Rudy be the face, and go off and do their own things, which is pretty great. Alright, haha, we're gonna go and do it ourselves! And they rush off, and Ruijerd is worried about those kids. Hey, let's not rush off. Let's follow them and make sure that they're safe. So, of course, Ruijerd's principles follow and make sense here. I actually really like this moment as well. Ruijerd says, I don't care. We'll have a lot of trouble if word gets out. So then would you have us let them die? And suddenly Ruijerd is huge in screen. Like, Kill la Kill huge. Right? Like, when one character is right and loud about it, they get really big in the screen in Kill la Kill and in most Trigger shows. Why? Because he's right. He has the high ground. Have the high ground, not again. And so Rudy backs down. We've negotiated it, but through threat, right? Just as Ruijerd did at the guy at the opening to the Migrid Temple. He just looms. And she just wants to fight something. So off we go to follow and track. Oh, don't they realize how foolish they're being? And of course, not. So we take lurky, scary moments of things being lurky and scary and us knowing that there are monsters before there are. The spider jumps out. Not yet. What? Why? But it's not desperate yet. And then the second monster. Boom. The giant snake. Bam. Things are desperate now? Are things desperate now? Ruijerd, I'm going! No, wait. Why does Rudy want them to wait? We can make more. This will do more to boost our reputation if we swoop in at the last moment and save them. This is how a story gets written, right? The hero always arrives right in the nick of time. That is not the way in reality. The number of people who have a great invention and do not ever see a dime from it because somebody else steals it and makes it in the days before they do, as they hesitate, immense. The number of people who are going to write some story and they don't, and they wait, and it gets snatched out from under them, immense. You don't wait in real life. You don't hesitate in real life, because when you do, monsters eat the people you're waiting to protect. In a story that's written from the top down, the monster is just there as an element for you to be introduced as a hero. Stories don't work this way. And he justifies it in his head. My plan is perfect. I've got healing magic. Even if they get hurt just a little bit, they've got this. And he misjudges the entire situation completely. And it's literally a hard cut. My plan is perfect. Swing, cut to black, body flying through the sky. Oh. Bam, bam, and it takes another moment of hesitation before they act. Fuck. Ruijerd immediately snaps into motion, Eris to follow, and Rudy is frozen. Because he made a mistake. This cut is great. It's all on ones. Or at least the two steps are. Yep. Big ones steps. Bam, 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 bam. Now it's twos. Rawr. Super, super tight. Super crispy animation. Some silly, like, digital camera movement where he goes beyond. It actually works better than I give it credit for, I think. Camera follows him, but he's moving faster than the camera can follow, so our camera is, like, skittering to catch up, and then brings him back into focus. That's pretty good. And then comes down with him in the bam, bam. Good impact frame. Chaos, chaos. Smash, bang, bam. And then the sequences with Eris, I think, are even better. This running sequence is really rad. It's at the classic 45 angle. Then we get these dip, dodge, dodge, dip. Bam. Bam. Out of the way. I think it's the next sequence from Eris that's, like, really stand out for me. Big explosion. Straight up in the air. Well, the joke about it is the joke that I made, which is you don't jump in a fight. But when you're trying to make people look all cool and stuff, fine, you can jump in a fight. Why not? And she slices. Wait, where's the first slice that Eris does? Because Eris does an initial slice that does not work. Oh, I guess that's on the other one. Okay, so that's on the other one. That's on the red Cobra. I'm sorry, I mixed the fights up. There isn't a super cool Eris sequence in this one. Ruijerd goes and approaches the children. You saved us. You guys are tough. We fucked it up. And Ruijerd immediately goes over to Rudy, who is standing there in shock because he's incorporating what has happened. Both of them are looking at the same thing, both of them with their spears, essentially staff, spear, whatever, weapons in their right hand, both ready to some extent to fight. Why did you stop me? We could have saved him. And there is no response to this. He's right. And Rudy answers honestly. I thought it would end up better for us. I thought it would be better for us. Slam. That is unforgivable. Unforgivable. He's right, and Rudy knows it. I'm thinking as hard as I can. That's not enough. It's only this guy saying, no, it's our fault. We chose this. We are adventurers. We are warriors. And that lets us know what Ruijerd actually values. Warriors. People who fight for something, for some reason. In this case, these three kids were fighting for their pride, and their friend got killed for it. That's arrogance. Is what that is. I say, this is too easy on Rudy. But the truth is that Rudy's hard enough on himself on this one. He fully and immediately recognizes what he did was wrong. Ruijerd letting him go is a little too easy on him, because he did fuck it up. And I think it is not true that these kids are responsible for their own death. Now, they would have all died without them, but Rudy is directly responsible for the death of Bird Guy. Directly, as far as I'm concerned. He had the opportunity to allow a thing to happen, and he stopped it from happening. So they say it's our fault. He says children can't be blamed, this is our problem, as he blames a child, which is pretty interesting, isn't it? A layer of the hypocrisy. And very much like Eris going up and grabbing at him, we get these people grabbing at him. We're not kids, we are adventurers. We chose this, we knew that we could die. We're grateful for saving you, but I understand, and this is my fault. And in this moment, in the foreground, a snake coils around a branch. I don't know. It reminds me of the caduceus, the staff with the snake twined around it. But I don't know. It's my fault. So he lets Rudy go, but he's still fucking pissed at him. They have not resolved this issue yet. I like this moment. Ruijerd reaches out to put his hand on his head, and he holds himself back. I read this as Ruijerd hates himself, views himself as unworthy. It's like he views the children as so holy and beautiful that he is tainted and he must stay away from them, even if it is to offer them compassion or kindness. How could he be the one to offer such things? But eventually he does reach out and put his hand on the shoulder. It's interesting that there's that difference. Maybe he was used to putting his hand on his brother's head, or something along those lines. You are full-fledged warriors. I'm sorry for treating you like children. You have my respect. And he breaks down. All right, later, we're just going to carry half our friend's corpse back. Yay! And we all stand here in shock, in grayness. This wasn't right and it wasn't wrong. It was gray. But it was wrong. Here's the thing. You can't wallow in something like that. There are more monsters and they're worse and scarier. New circumstances will come up. You got to figure out what happened and figure out what to do next. More monsters come up. There's the monster. Okay, we get there, we're in the same situation. Repeat of the same situation, except it's worse. More of these guys are dead. The monster is here. Bam. We have a chance to save one of them. It's a worse chance. We have a chance. This is the dangerous thing. So, we do it differently. That's our monster? Yes, confirmed that this is the thing. We hear this guy screaming? Damn it, okay. I doubt they stood a chance, says Rudyard. Interesting. So do we. He'll die if we don't help soon. What will we do? And Rudy says, can we win? It's not, should we act now? It's, can we survive? Because that's the only yes-no here. The moral thing to do, no matter what, is to go in and fight and try to save that guy's life. But if you can't win, then getting all 3 of you killed to save his life is not correct and you should run. He asks, can we win? It's the only evaluation here, not is it right, is it wrong, or any of those things. It's, is this possible? Rudyard says, yes, absolutely. We can. Definitely. There's a chance. Then there's no hesitation. 1 moment to steal himself, then we're going. Let's save him. We will act differently. No hesitation. What just happened? Rudy learned. It's that simple. Rudy internalized the thing that happened and didn't let himself wallow in it and become indecisive because he had failed before. He used his previous failure to influence his next action, takes decisive action immediately, and it, for the most part, works. These sequences are the rad ones. This is where the Sakuga budget of the show and the episode is. The impact frames are sick. Boom. Solidified as crystal. Bam, bam, bam. Super rad. Boom. Misses, misses, misses. And maybe if Rudy was a better shot, he could win, right? Or he could save the guy. It's possible, but unlikely. Big slicing stab from Rudyard is very fun and cool. Big flippy whippy from Eris is dumb and cool and fun. But of course doesn't do anything because she just clinks into the scales. Gets tossed off in a really cool sequence that I actually really like. Flip, boom, 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 lots of CG, lots of 3D stuff. Very cool still. Great monster, honestly. Misses it again. Rawr! Very cool sequence. Very cool pop-in of Rudyard. Bam. Full hand. Clash stop. Really excellent stuff. Really excellent flow. And that stop of it folds it up so that Eris can take another downward strike. And she does so. So we get this. This stuff... This animator looks like animation that I would expect on Little Witch Academia or a Bones show. The multi-layer, like, blackout lines that are unframed with the sketch. Move through. The drop, the impact, boom, split, fold. Bam, bam. Big impact frame that I want to go look at. Boom. Oh, yeah, Kanada style as hell. Insane. Just a yellow line. Pure white. Flashing explosion. That's an excellent piece of impact work. Yeah, that's really cool. That does some stuff to my brain. It rears back. Now! And we all blast it together. And Rudy punches a giant hole in it. And the day is saved. Sick fucking nasty. I'm going to Sakugaburu. I have no choice. I have to know. If I can figure out who that animator was. Specifically on the Eris cut. I don't really care about the rest. Mushoku _Tensei source #hashtag 11. What? Oh, it's Mushoku Tensei Isekai Itara. Okay. Source #hashtag 11. Boom. Tons of them. Awesome. I'm looking for the cut. I'm going to have to open a bunch of cuts to get there. Oh, somebody has the whole fight up, and somebody has listed... here, I'll just pull it up for you. Window capture this one. That one. There we go. Okay, so this is the one. I'm going to have to refresh it. Great. So 00 to 08, Naoya Takahashi. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Boom. Okay. 14 through 19. So, right. So, I think all of this must be Takahashi or just unknown. 14 starts here. So, this is the first Eris Flippy Whip. 14 through 19 is SHHO. Show. 19 through 24 is Shingoyama presumed. So, that's this one with the CG trees and stuff. These are all digital objects. See, these are digitally rendered objects that we're moving through. Okay. Through 24. We hit 24 and we get Ken Otsuka. Big impact, big movement, and this goes through 38. So it'll have the whole warp in toward Rudy sequence in a moment. Rawr! And then whoosh, and then bam, and then continue with Ken Otsuka until now. And then Yoshimichi Kameda. Oh, it's Kameda! Oh, that's why! That's why! It's Yoshi... Yeah. Yoshimichi Kameda. Yoshimichi Kameda, click on him. Click on, like, literally anything in here. And find that Kameda style, because Kameda is a Kaneda style guy. This is from Seiko no, or Toa no Kwon. Yep. Oh, yep, absolutely. Absolutely, exactly. And you can actually see those, I forget what they're called. Those screen tones, the lines, these, all throughout, and we see those throughout the cut as well. Let me see. Oh, yeah, here we go. This is going to be emblematic of it, this sequence. Boom, all the movement of the characters. Yep. The speed of motion, swordplay. It's Kameda work. So when I saw that scene, I was like, I know that artist, man. Who the fuck is that? That's who. Kameda. That makes perfect sense to me. Oh, thank God. It's like, oh, there's friction in my brain. Click. Oh, no friction in my brain. I understand exactly what's going on. That scene, man. This moment right in here where we see all of her like face as multiple faces as she swings through. It's so clearly that artist. That's awesome. Into Kyukawa at 45. So here, character animation, zap boom. Big fun, exceptional. Yeah, that stuff. Really rad and unique in terms of an impact frame style. And we move it forward into the big explosion. Mix it in with Soichiro Masuda for this big explosion and the blood splatter. And then 53 to end for here is once again Kyukawa for the big fallover. Absolutely excellent sequence of cuts there. Figuring out that was Kameda, just tracks. It just tracks. That makes sense to me. Makes perfect sense to me. All right, so this guy's a fucking asshole. And he picks a mess with the wrong team. The authority is coming down on you for having broken the rules. Another thing goes wrong after a bunch of things go wrong, and then this guy is going to exploit you. Well, Rudy finds himself in a situation where the only thing that he can really think that he can do is to pay this guy off and deal with the systemic corruption. Because he has a principle. I will do whatever it takes in order to protect Eris and get her home. I have to bring this girl Eris back home, even if I have to wipe out this whole city off the map to make that happen. I will do anything to protect you, including kill myself, including kill many. It's an unacceptable way of being. It is an unacceptable way of being. It is a principle, and it is a warriorship, and it is what Ruijerd respects. But having Ruijerd's respect is not necessarily a good thing. He's a hair-trigger, monster, Dark Knight, Avenger, Paladin. You can't hold you to your ideals quite this closely and have them be correct. And when he just ideating it makes it start to happen. Isn't that weird? Just having the thought makes it start to occur. Just admitting that the possibility is there makes it start to occur. Uncontrolled. Even if it would mean betraying Ruijerd. And Ruijerd takes action himself, pours water on himself, and reveals his truth. We find out that there is another side to having a bad fucking reputation, which is that when you loom, people scatter. So Ruijerd uses it, harnesses it, and utilizes, you might say, the parts of his shadow that he has integrated. Because being intimidating is demonstrating to another person, I have the capacity to cause you harm if I wish to, and I will if you do not act in accordance with my wishes. That's what it is. It says, I'm aware of my own ability to cause harm, and I'm in control of it, and I will choose to use it if you act in certain ways. It's why children are so unthreatening. They have no grasp over their own ability to cause harm, really. They're also dangerous because they have no grasp on their ability to cause harm. But Ruijerd, having integrated with his reputation to some extent, right? He identifies with it to some extent. He calls himself Dead End, and in this case, actually reveals himself as his truth, and identifies with it and says, I am this. I am using, and he uses it. That's cool, because that is exactly correct. When you have power, but you act like a meek little kid and keep all your weapons wrapped up, there's a thing to that all our characters are keeping their weaponry like wrapped up and behind wraps, right? Because that's what you do in a society. You carry a big weapon and you keep it sheathed so that nobody thinks that you're going to murder them. It's really interesting. But Ruijerd here, he unwraps his spear. We don't actually see it happen, right? Wrapped, spear wrapped. But the next time we see his spear, when he walks up, and we hide it from our view throughout this whole thing. It's out of frame. Eris is blocking it. We hide it out of view until here, right? And as he walks through with the spear point out, he is now threatening. He is now unsheathed. And only an unsheathed sword or spear is capable of causing harm and capable of changing people's direction. And he's deeply, horrifyingly threatening. And this is very cathartic because we hate this guy because he's an asshole and a manipulator and a scumbag. But it's still an interesting circumstance. Ruijerd cannot be what he is not. He cannot keep this lie going. So we talk about the fear. We leave him, Kurt, and his squad with their loss and self-hatred and guilt and shame and all the things that they have. We move into an absolutely stellarly visually constructed scene. In the mountains, amidst the open beyond of the open true night sky, our two characters stand at cross purposes facing different directions, not facing each other, and their weaponry, their spears that they hold, each in their right dominant hand where they can use it to turn and fight if they must, are the one thing that touches each other in the frame, right? The one thing about Ruijerd that touches Rudy is that his spear touches his head. And the one thing about Rudy that touches Ruijerd is that his spear goes up his butt. It's goofy and stupid, but that's what's happening here. The only place that they can really connect is over their power and strength and the use of it and how they should be using it. I should apologize to you. No, I should apologize to you. And we go back and forth between them. Shot, reverse shot, until Ruijerd reaches out and basically turns Rudy around, preventing us from having to break the 180-degree rule. And now we do break that 180-degree rule, sort of. And we flip them. Ruijerd recognizes that you have something to protect, and we find a truth amongst ourselves. We both agree upon this one thing. But what that thing actually means is something worth pursuing and figuring out. Ruijerd has his answer. Being a warrior is my pride. Warriors protect children and treasure their comrades. I am a warrior. I am the kind of person who protects children and treasures my comrades. It is what I do, and I will protect you. So don't worry about all my other shit. Just do your thing, and I'll deal with mine. And Rudy says, thank you for saying that. I agree. I will of my own volition, not as some weird exchange with you, but I will of my own volition attempt to restore your reputation. Because that is my pride, and that is what I will fight for, and that is my warriorship. I am the warrior who sacrifices himself to protect the dreams of others. Hibiki Tachibana. Most shonen protagonists. Everybody else has their dreams riding on me. Everybody else's heart won't be free until I defeat the bad guy. It's Precure. Every Precure season. Everybody else is I have to carry their weight. That's what Rudy's doing too. I will carry your weight as well. If you need to focus on the true goal of protecting children, then let's worry less about your reputation for you. You worry about protecting me, and I'll worry about your reputation. And mutualistically, we can both worry about the things that we're individually better at, and therefore our differences become our strength, like magnets, because everything is magnets. All right, this has been my TED Talk about magnets. Everything is magnets. Love is magnetism. Gravity is chaos. Love is magnetism. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Catch you next week for more Mushoku Tensei as we move into a solidified future with our whole team together and a bald-ass boy. Also a new city with some cool shit and ships and seas and stuff, and we're going to meet Roxy and some squad members. Rad. Love it. See you next week for more. Peace.